Welcome to I Married a Melchizedek, episode 10, where it's all about unity, unity consciousness, the divine unity field, and the unity living process, along with the divine Miss H, Hazel Davies, head Master UNITY Bubble Facilitator, who shares fascinating and informative information learned and experiences gained during her 18-plus-year relationship with Jonathan C.R. Davies, her Melchizedek hubby. If you're unfamiliar with unity living or what exactly the Melchizedek are, I invite you to check out our new website at unityliving.life and read and watch videos all about it there. I'm your host, Renata Duma. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified immediately when another episode of I Married a Melchizedek airs. Links to all I Married a Melchizedek shows will also be listed on the unityliving.life website. And now, once again, without further ado, here's the divine Miss H, Hazel. Welcome to episode 10.
Thanks, Renata. Yeah, Miss H. Yes, in the South, it's always Miss Hazel. Miss Hazel.
Miss Hazel. Hi,
I would never believe that we could get to episode 10 so relatively easily. So thank you for that.
I tell you, thank you for that. And I was thinking this morning, gee, I wonder what episode 100 is going to be like.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that to me. Now I'm all of a panic.
No, it's going to be a partay. It's going to be a partay.
Oh goodness. Oh.
So we've had quite a wonderful response from our audience, and along with that, some great questions to explore possible answers to. One of them was about releasing dysfunctional patterns. Do you notice how I segued right into there, into the heavy duty stuff? Like just boom, just like that, right? Boom. I know that in my experience working with individuals going through the unity living process, once they realize they can release easily to the divine unity field or bubble, they usually jump at the chance to do so. Though on rare occasion, there's a resistance, a reluctance, or even a flat out refusal to give up a dysfunctional pattern once it's been identified. So the question from our audience member is, how do you know when you are ready to release a dysfunctional pattern? And I'd like to take that just a step further and talk about some possible reasons why anyone would refuse to let go of something they could identify as dysfunctional. Hazel, over to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, it's very simple to know if somebody is ready to release. And it's a particular, what is available, a layer, let's say, in the completeness of that layer, because there's many layers, right? But each layer in itself is complete. So if I'm working with a client and we're talking about stuff and we come to the kind of the little pearl of the day, this is what right now in this moment, this is the most important thing that we've got to. And it might take a couple of hours to talk about all kinds of things, but I'm very aware of the patterning that's going on in all kinds of different ways. So if I was to get to the crux of a particular, the most important issue for that client on that day, let's just say guilt, because guilt's a big one. So we get to this, okay, so now we've identified that you have a thing about guilt and this has been with you for a long time. And I would ask my client, have you had enough of that? If there is one moment of hesitation, they're not ready.
Right.
If I say that, are you ready? Are you ready to give this up? And they say, yeah. I know from their energy and just for the immediate response that they are primed and ready to give that up because they've had enough of the experience of it. If there's a hesitation, it's like, oh, they're not quite ready yet. And that's okay. There's no judgment here. It's just, no, they're not quite ready. They need to have a little bit more information. They need to have a little bit more feeling about it. They need to experience it some more before they are ready to do that. you can only give up and only surrender the amount that is available, and that means the open and willingness to surrender it. So in a nutshell, it wasn't really a nutshell, it was a big nut, yeah.
Okay.
That's really somebody will say, yeah, I'm ready to release that. Yeah, I'm ready. But if there's not the energy behind it, it's like, yeah, like, heck, yes, I'm ready. I've had it up to here with this, I'm really ready. Then they will be able to release a whole lot down to the very, last fragments of it, down to the very root of it.
Right.
But there's many reasons why. It would not be ready.
Yeah, and I mean, I've even seen where people literally have, like, they just do not want to give things up. They just don't. And it's perplexing, because on the one hand, you want to do the work with them, but on the other hand, you can't. And the only thing you can do is just, hopefully, I don't know, what would you do? I guess I would sort of chip away at things that sort of are around that issue, and then hopefully eventually they would want to release it. How would you handle that?
Well, that's what I would do too. I would just, they're just not ready, and then you just talk some more, talk some more and talk some more until they've had their fill. They've had their fill of this particular issue. But to go into the reasons why, I mean, there's so many reasons why they might not be ready for it. Because if you think about it, it's a bit scary. It's a bit scary to give up something that they may have had maybe for most of their life. It's somehow or other, it has worked for them. That's even though it hasn't. It has in some way. There would be some kind of advantage. There would be some kind of some way that it's working for them. It could be they don't want to be responsible, because if you give up something, then it's like, oh, now I'm responsible. Now what if, or they don't believe that it's even possible, or maybe it's not possible for them. It might be possible for others, but not for me, Right. And then the self-worth comes into it, the non-deserving, the I'm not good enough, so it couldn't happen for me. So all these things are twisted into it, and having to unravel all those things will get them hopefully to that point that they are ready to release. It's right. Complicated. It's complicated and it's complex to get it very simple.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Really, sorry, keep going.
No, there may be a lack of trust. There may be a way that they have set up for sheer survival, probably, or a manipulation that, well, this works for me. Why should I give this up? It's working. Although on a soul level, they kind of know that it's not.
Right.
But they're not ready. They're not ready to take that commitment to themselves, because it's external. It's putting it externally.
Well, all the time you've been speaking, I just keep hearing the underlying, sort of the underbelly of all of those self-worth, self-esteem, all of those issues is fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's
fear of change. Yeah.
Fear of change. Yeah. It's just fear of change.
Yeah. And you always come back, not you, but one always comes back to those, the umbrella issues.
Right.
Of the abandonment, the not feeling good enough, the lack of support, and then the lack of trust, and then the lack of self-worth. But it's not that easy just to say, oh, that's just about abandonment, just let that go. That would be real nice if it was that easy, but it's not. It's not easy.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
That's not. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. So thank you for that answer. That's a complex question.
And you generally need somebody else to help you through it, and that's what we do. That's what the bubble does. It is something that helps you. It assists you. It doesn't do it for you, but it assists.
Correct. Exactly. So here's another great question from another audience member. They said, my question is, having tasted the concept of living in a non-dualistic frame of mind or state of being, are there any techniques or perspectives you could share to deepen my understanding? Pretty big question. So why don't we first get a bit of an overview of non-dualism as you see it, and then we can ask the question again.
Yes, when I first got that question, I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to answer that in 5 minutes or less? You know, like it's a huge subject. So I did some pondering on it, and I thought, well, really, what these sessions are about is helping people to move through their own issues, and with some fundamental knowledge principles in place to assist. So I thought, well, one, not that I know it all, but one could go into the, these larger aspects and all that. But I thought that's not really going to help people. So what I came up with, and I hope this is useful, is when we say the being in non-duality. See, we're into duality here in this dimension. We have choice, right? We have good and bad, better, not so good, all those things. But when you rise up into a state of non-duality, you're really moving into a state without judgment. So that you're moving into neutrality, that everything is okay. Everything is an experience. So the experience of non-duality is really, to me, it's like you've moved through those many, many layers of judgment. And of course, it always comes back to judgment of self, but usually starts externally with judging others, criticizing others, having opinions. This is right, this is wrong.
Right.
We actually move into alignment, where we can go into that as well. But really, that's a very simplified way, of saying my understanding and what I find is useful to know about duality and the choice of that, and which is more preferred.
And I would add to that the concept of unity and oneness. So when you are in unity consciousness, in true unity consciousness, there is no judgment, right? So we're moving into that through the entire unity process. So that's the self-actualization, the movement towards non-dualism. I mean, we don't really talk about that, but I think we just...
It does always come, it always comes back. It always comes back to that, doing your own work and going through all those issues and getting to that state of neutrality. And that is not a boring state. Some people say, oh, when I've done all my issues, life won't be exciting anymore. No, not at all. Not at all. You're quite able to go have the highs and be, absolutely, so happy about something, or the other hand, be very upset about something and sit and cry a river. But the thing is, you can find your way easily back to that central place, that place of neutrality, and realizing that, oh, that was an experience. Whoa, that was really an experience. Do I wish to repeat that one again? Maybe, maybe not.
Exactly. And there's also the concept of the now. So when it's unity consciousness in the now, you're just taking that non-judgmental unity consciousness that's in the now into the next now, and then into the next now, the next now. And so you're constantly in a state of co-creation, but true co-creation from self. Yeah. It's so great. I love it. It
is all this moment.
Yeah.
Even as we talk, it's still.
Absolutely. Totally. 300%. 300%. It's great. And so So here's the question again. So having tasted the concept of living in a non-dualistic frame of mind, and I guess they're referring to being in unity consciousness because they've been doing some of the work, right? Are there any techniques or perspectives you could share to deepen my understanding?
Do your work. look at all your triggers. Look at any trigger that comes up for you, because even after one has gone through the entire process, it's not over. You've climbed one mountain range, and then it becomes easier to and occasionally you get a curveball thrown at you and you need some help to unravel that one. But generally speaking, people are able to see their own issues. They know what they are. Yeah, there may be little fragments here and there that come back up to bite you, but that is really how we're going to move. And it's a frequency. You see, the more work that you do personally, the more your frequency rises, which is going to be the entry or the gateway by resonance into the fifth dimensional way of living that we're all really hoping it's going to happen real soon. Like, can we? But it won't be because we want it so badly. It will be a natural progression because of the rising of the frequency.
Yeah. Plus, if we're all sitting around going, oh, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? The universe hears, well, they just want to sit around waiting for it to happen. Instead of actually embodying that and creating that reality within you. So that spreads out and creates the reality within your entourage, within your family, within your friends, in your world, And
it is personal. It is all very personal as we do go forward. It's an individual journey. It's not the whole family that's going.
No. But
which is very upsetting for some.
It can be. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
But that's just how it is. That's how it works. We can't say we don't like it. I can say I don't like gravity. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, we all came here knowing exactly the rules of the game, the rules of engagement. Yeah. So it's not a big surprise, right? If you've really done the work and you know what's going on. And it's also about the concept for me is, sure, you struggle with it. I mean, I want my cat to come with me, but we don't own anything. We don't even own our children, right? We don't own anything. We own our sovereignty and our free will, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a God-given right, exactly. within this universe. Which actually leads me into alignment.
Exactly. That's the next question. So what exactly is alignment? And how do you know when you are in alignment and when you are out of alignment?
Well, again, I'm going to attempt to make it really simple, although it's not simple, but it may suffice for where we are right now. So when we had the conversations, Jonathan had the conversations with the I am, which, I mean, just to even think that is even a possibility, kind of twist your head around to begin with. But he did, and Richard, being the incredible channel that he was and still is. If you think about, let's call it the I am consciousness or source, whatever name you would like to put to it, meaning the overall point of consciousness, which is everything, which takes in everything, all comes from that one point. So if you think about it from that level, alignment, everything is in alignment with that. Otherwise, it could not exist. So that's at the very highest level. If if it's in existence, it has to be allowed. Otherwise it couldn't be.
Right.
So that twists your head around to begin with. So anyway, so it, not your head, but so I like so then if you think about that, stepping it down, and there's many steppings down, but let's say stepping it down to the creator God of our universe, whatever name you would like to put on that. So that creator God, I'm just going to, God and Goddess, I'm just going to call it that. I'm not going to get into any why you should call it that or not for the way of explanation.
Right.
That point of consciousness has been given the right or dominion over a creation that she is going to create a universe to that point of consciousness. So you can be in alignment with that, which is possibly the same fundamental principles as to the all, but maybe with some shifts, because there may be, let's just call it a house. You know, within that house, if you have the right frequency, the right resonance, you can come into that house, that universe. And if not, you cannot. So our universe is one of free will, which means that we have choice.
Right.
So you can be in alignment with that, which we must be because we are here in this universe. Now you step it down even further, there is a soul. So am I in alignment with my soul? So there would be a particular soul path that my soul decides that it's going to come in as a fraction of itself called Hazel. I'm going to go in and find out all about that stuff about not feeling good enough. That's what I want to know. My soul says, I want to know all about that. So I'm going to make a little bit off myself, and we're going to go and have a whole experience about not feeling good enough. So when I'm in alignment with that, because that's my soul expression and my soul journey back to the soul, I can either be experimenting with that, experiencing that, and that means I'm in alignment with my soul.
Right.
If I decide that I'm not going to know anything about that, because I have the right as Hazel, because that's where you get the choice, the free will, then I'm not, it wouldn't feel right. You have a feel, you have a gut feeling that you're in alignment, that it feels that that's what I need to do, or I need to go to a certain place, or I need to get a particular job or have a particular relationship to find out as much as I can about not feeling good enough or whatever it is. And then when I've had enough of that and my soul says, yeah, I got it. We don't need to do that anymore. Then you're free to have a different kind of expression or experience.
Yep, exactly. And then we can segue back to what we were talking about for that. Sometimes it is being in alignment then, not to want to release a dysfunctional pattern.
Yes, because the soul hasn't had enough of that experience yet.
There you go.
This stuff can't be before. And then there's so many other levels of alignment. Like, let's say, nature. Nature is in alignment, even though sometimes, there's things that happen. But nature is always trying to find balance. Balance is a big word, right? Mm-hmm. Our cells in our body, if they are all in alignment, we would be vital and healthy. Now, when things go a little bit awry, the cells are like, oh, I'm going to go back there. So disease happens, conditions happen. This is the spiritual, because everything is spiritual. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. On those other levels, you can think about, am I in alignment mentally? So then I have to start thinking about, what are my thoughts? Are my thoughts, are they in alignment? Are they in alignment to my soul path, to my journey back to soul? Yeah. It's quite complicated, but in a way, it's very easy.
Well, and that's where we're here. Yeah, that's where we're here to help too, right?
It's a combination of the, you feel it in your heart space and in your gut. It's really a combination. And somebody will say, I just knew that I had to do that. That is total in alignment with your path.
And also being impulsed, right?
Yes.
I remember Jonathan used to say, if you get the urge to take something out to the garbage room, do it.
Yeah.
If you don't know who you're going to meet out there, or you don't know, what's going to happen, just as you're walking back in, or if you get the urge to phone somebody you haven't talked to in 20 years, do it, because, there's a reason why you're getting impulsed, right?
And everything unfolds. You see, when you are in alignment, things happen in perfect time. Just perfect time, perfect situation, perfect place. That's the divine aspect of being in alignment. So there's so many different layers.
Yeah, that's when the synchronicities start to happen, right? That's when it's like, oh, wow, that seems like a really wild coincidence. Well, they're not coincidences, right? They're synchronicities when you are in alignment, right?
I mean, these are huge subjects. We could talk forever on them. But,
we have another 90 episodes to do. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, thank you to everyone who sent in questions. Please keep them coming. I'd also like to announce that starting next week, we're going to be inviting one of our facilitators to jump on with us and share a Jonathan story with us, or something equally fabulous. Maybe they have a Hazel story. That way you get to know the whole Unity community, which is something we're trying to build and reinforce. So please do keep sending in your wonderful questions. We love receiving them. And now what we've all been waiting for is a key feature of our show, and that is another Jonathan story. Once again, like last week, I have no idea what this is. So I will be amazed along with everybody else.
Well, it's a funny little story, actually. This one dates back to 2002. Jonathan and I were in Australia visiting my daughter there. And at that time, she lived in Sydney. And there's all kinds of, wonderful scenery. There's wonderful walks that one can go on. And there's a place called the Blue Mountains, which is very vast. It's all eucalyptus trees, and it's just, it's incredible. So I said to Joe, I really want to meet like one of the key Aboriginal, tribe, like somebody who's really high up in the Aboriginal genealogy, right? Yeah. So, and I just said to him, I'd really like that. So never thought anything else about it. And a few days later, we were walking into the Blue Mountains. It's a public place. There's a public park there. Very popular, all kinds of people there. And we came across this kind of flat area. We were looking, I'm going, there's this Aboriginal man, and he's there with a blanket laid out in front of him. And he's dressed in like a kind of like a loincloth with a kangaroo skin, like over his shoulders, naked apart from that. And there's all these people, and they're having their picture taken with him. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "Oh, this is not exactly what I had in mind," Anyway, of course, we have to go. I didn't get any picture taken with him. That's not my thing. But we were just kind of standing there looking, and everyone was loving the pictures. And of course, he focuses on Jonathan as this kind of thing always happens,
No,
right?
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
No, no,
So
no,
he
no.
invites him over. And we have a conversation with him. He's a great guy. He's just a wonderful guy. Apparently, he had a company, and he traveled the world, telling stories, Aboriginal stories of their dream time and all that. So we spent quite a bit of time, and he had the didgeridoo. He had the didge, and John says, I really want to learn how to play this didge. I want a didge, as Jonathan would. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Why not? So then, and his name was Miranda. That's how I'm remembering. Not how you spell it at all. And anyway, so he said, why don't you come back to my house? Come back to my house for dinner. We can spend, some time together. So, okay, fine, and we're like, where are we going to go? What? Anyway, so we get the address and we arrive there for dinner. So Miranda's just come back from his job, if you like, of doing the photographs and things. And then he whips off his kangaroo skin and his loincloth, and he gets his shorts and his t-shirt on. And, and he has a wife there. She's white. She's like 4 foot nothing, Irish. I mean, it's just like the whole thing was kind of bizarre. And then they turn on the TV, the very large TV, because they want to watch Australian rules rugby. So I'm like, am I in this kind of this twilight zone? Because this is like really weird. Anyway, we have dinner and talking, and then Jonathan says, I really want to learn how to blow this didge thing. So I said, well, I'd like to too. Oh, well, I can't teach you because you're a female, right? It's a male thing. It comes down. So I'm like,
okay.
Oh, okay. I respect that. I'm particularly happy about it, but so they spent the night, and I don't even know what I did, but anyway, so eventually we go to bed. I'm lying there in bed, and I'm going, Jonathan, there's something under the bed. And Jonathan's like, I'm tired, let's just go to sleep. I'm going, Jonathan, there's something under the bed. And he's going, no, it's your imagination. So at about 3 o'clock in the morning, Jonathan, there's something under the bed. And so anyway, we changed sides of the bed, and he said, you're right, there's something under the bed. So then, I didn't get any sleep at all. We're right on the edge of the Blue Mountains. It's very, very vast. It's very, very not desolate, but it's all forested there.
Right.
And then I can hear this sounds. So we get up in the morning, and I'm, like. So Jonathan says to Miranda, seems like there were people outside the window last night. And he just kind of looks at Jonathan and he said, some people hear them. So I was like, I don't really want to know anymore.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Wow.
It was kind of a different experience, let's say.
So what was the energy? What do you think it was, like their energy under the bed?
It was the ancestors. They were coming to check out, probably me and Jonathan. But, right. And they were talking between themselves.
Right.
I have no idea what it wasn't even like light language. It was their language.
Aboriginal, whatever.
But the way that he just kind of said, some people hear them. In other words, they're talking all the time. But if you're on the right resonance with them, you'll hear them. I didn't hear them. Yeah. Jonathan heard them.
Oh, okay.
I heard the scratching and what was going on underneath the bed, which to this day, I wasn't about to be looking.
No. I've had a couple of experiences where I'm hearing something behind me, and I'm like, I really don't want to turn around. I'm just good enough with the sound, right? Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And we have some pictures of the didgeridoo, right? You said you have, yeah. So we'll put those. Yeah,
I'll send you a picture of because I do have a picture of Jonathan actually at the at the place where we met Miranda.
So did Jonathan actually end up learning how to play it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have to do it. I think it's circular breathing or something like that. It's not that easy. I have the ditch here. We almost had to buy a separate plane ticket because it's big. It's large, you know. Another experience with Jonathan.
Isn't that wonderful? Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that on behalf of everyone, myself. It's just wonderful to hear these things. So I see we are once again getting close to the end of today's show. And I just wanted to mention once again that another archive video of Jonathan's has surfaced. So if you haven't watched it, it's up on my Renata Lightwork YouTube channel, alongside all of the I Married a Melchizedek episodes. So tune in again with Hazel and myself in 2 Tuesdays on I Married a Melchizedek, when we not only get to learn more about the life of a great being, Jonathan C.R. Davies, and the vast and vital legacy he left behind, but also Hazel's brilliant recollections thereof and all the wisdom she brings to us. Thank you, Hazel.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. It was fun.
With much love from Hazel and I to you, till we meet again on the next wise and equally whimsical episode of I Married a Melchizedek. See you next time.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.